The campaign season for the 2026 elections is officially underway in North Carolina. The filing period for candidates ended last Friday. WECT's Connor Smith is live tonight with a breakdown of the big races that we're following. Now, Connor, in some of these races, voters will actually get a say well before the November races.
Yeah, that's right, John. Well, look, we're going to have primary elections for several races, including New Hanover County Commission and School Board. And some other notable incumbents also facing primary tests to keep their seats in Raleigh and Washington. There's 315 days until Election Day 2026, but you'll have the chance to cast your ballot much sooner than that.
We are pumped up and ready to go.
This list of candidates for New Hanover County Commission and School Board will be slashed in the primary election. That's on March 3rd. There are 11 candidates running for 4 open seats on the Board of Education, so both parties will have primary races deciding who they'll support in November. New Hanover County Democrats will also hold a primary for Board of Commissioners. There's only 2 open seats, but 4 candidates: incumbent Rob Zappel and challengers Celeste Andrews, Judy Justice, and LaShonda Wallace. Republican County Commissioner Dane Scalise and Democratic School Board member Tim Merrick are facing off for Ted Davis's District 20 seat in the State House. Whichever party wins will fill the seat they leave behind.
Very excited about the race ahead.
I'm running to be state representative to bring an independent voice.
Republican Congressman David Rouser is also facing a primary challenge, and so are GOP state legislators Frank Eiler of Brunswick County and Carson Smith of Pender. That means more campaigning and more cash spent before we even hit the summer. And after the primaries, there's even more buildup until November.
In Purple New Hanover County, we are very much a turnout county. Races flip by only a dozen, a couple of hundred votes sometimes,
making this midterm one to watch. And New Hanover County GOP Chair John Hennett sent us a statement tonight. It reads in part, quote, "We aim to remind local voters that local elections are just as important as what happens in D.C. and Raleigh. The NHC GOP will continue to emphasize the clear and obvious good governance that our Republican majorities have achieved, while continuing to advocate for more wins between now and Election Day." And we have a link with a full list of everyone who filed to run right inside your WECT News app. Connor Smith, WECT News.